Please stand by.
Loading. Loading complete.
30,
29, 28,
27,
26,
25, 24,
20,
22,
21, 20, 18,
17,
16, 15, 14, 13,
12,
11, 10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
4,
2,
1. Now for what you've all been waiting for.
Good morning, good day, good evening, good night, good whatever it is where you are. And hello to everybody who sees this in the future. Let's see, it looks like I got a couple of people watching. Nothing in the chat just yet. So I guess I'll wait a little bit before getting to the announcement. A little change I made here. Well, seeing as we're waiting, might as well get into the opening song. And I hope I sound good too, because I've been kind of dealing with the stuff with my lungs since this past weekend. I get a little drink of my tea here. Every morning, every evening, ain't we got fun? Not much money, oh, but honey, ain't we got fun? The rent's unpaid, dear, we haven't a bus. The smiles were made, dear, for people like us. In the winter, in the summer, don't we have fun? Times are bombing, getting bummer, still we have fun. There's nothing sure, the rich get rich and the poor get poor. In the meantime, in between time, ain't we got fun? Tax collectors getting closer, still we have fun. Twins and cares, dear, come in pairs, dear, don't we have fun? We've only started, no, we're not downhearted. When I'm laid off, I'll be paid off, ain't we got fun? Times we're mad and getting madder, ain't we got fun? Times are bad and getting badder, still we have fun. There's nothing sure, the rich get rich and the poor get poor. In the meantime, in between time, ain't we got fun? Ain't we got fun? Well, I hope we have fun tonight. Let's see. Where shall we start today? I guess I'll wait for people to show up here. Maybe, maybe not. Yes, no. Well, if you're watching, you can please say hi, hello in the comment, in the chat here. I guess while we're waiting, we'll get into the wheel. Oh, there's Unfinished Journey. Well, seeing as we got here, if you check out the description and down below, you'll see that I've taken in. This is actually inspired by you. In fact, since you're here, since last week you were asking about making requests for songs. So I put a list of requests in the description of this thing, so you can pick from that list whatever you like. You can, for anyone who's watching this later on after the stream is ended, and on replay, and you don't see that list, and you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about, that's because I'm going to remove the list after the show's over. But as I was saying, I'm going to get to the wheel here. And I totally forgot to put the damn thing up to begin with. But at any rate, Genie with light brown hair is what we got. Sorry about that, but I am just totally off today, aren't I? Oh boy. Yeah, let's see here. I dream of Genie with the light brown hair, born like a vapor on the summer air. I see her tripping where the bright streams play, happy as the daisies that dance on her way. Many were the wild notes her merry voice would pour, many were the blithe birds that warbled them o'er. Oh, I dream of Jeanie with the light brown hair, floating like a vapor on the soft summer air. I long for Jeanie with the day dawn smile, radiant in gladness, warm with wit and guile. I hear her melodies like joys gone by, sighing round my heart, oh, the fond hopes that die. Sighing like the night winds, sobbing like the rain, waiting for the lost one that comes not again. Oh, I long for Jeanie, and my heart bows low, never more to find her where the bright waters flow. I sigh for Jeanie, but her light form strayed far from the fond hearts round her native glade. Her smiles have vanished, and her sweet songs flown, flitting like the dreams that have cheered us and gone. Now the nodding wildflowers may wither on the shore, while her gentle fingers will cull them no more. Oh, I sigh for Jeanie with the light brown hair, floating like a vapor on the soft summer air. Okay. Henry the Eighth, I am. All right. Do Henry the Eighth. We'll also take that off the list of the wheel. So we don't double back on stuff. I'm Henrietta, I am. I got married to the woman next door. She's been married 7 times before, and everyone's been named Henry. She'll never will Sam. No, Sam. I'm Wraith Old Man, Henrietta, I am. Second verse, same as the first. I'm Henrietta, I am. I got married to the woman next door. She's been married 7 times before, and everyone named Henry. She'll never will Sam. No, Sam. I'm Wraith Old Man, Henrietta, I am. Oh, I'm Henrietta, I am. I got married to the girl next door. She's been married 7 times before. And all of them named Henry, she'll never will Sam. No, Sam. I'm Earth Old Man, Henrietta, I am. Oh, Henry, Henrietta, I am. Henrietta, I am. Yeah, that's Henry VIII. Nope, no free bird. Oh, well, you like the swing low? That's actually, I don't even remember put that on the list. Uh, Actually, I may have actually forgot to put that one on the list. Well, I'll do that one. There we are. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I'm sometimes up, I'm sometimes down, coming for to carry me home. But still my soul feels heavenly bound, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I look over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. A band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. There you go. Yeah. Get more of my tea after that. Yeah. Also, let's try and get a little bit of Tone More Do going here too. Well, how about we get into a little bit of the news here real quick? Unfortunately, I didn't line up an artist I showcased for this week. I really should have. Our first news segment. Master of Horror John Carpenter receives a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. It was about time. April 3rd, 2025, it was the night filmmaker John Carpenter came home, or rather the day the Master of Horror was recognized for his contributions to film history by finally receiving a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Seems definitely he should have gotten it a lot sooner. Many a horror fan would argue the moment has been a long time in coming for Carpenter. Yeah, like I am. After all, you're talking about the man who changed the very face of Halloween with the bone white image of Michael Myers from the groundbreaking slasher Halloween, which is a William Shatner mask. He gave it's one of film's most badass rebels and escape from New York Snake Bill Olskin, and played by a frequent collaborator Kurt Russell. And while it may have underperformed at the box office at the time, his remake of 1951's The Thing from Another World, simply entitled Thing, is now considered a masterpiece of sci-fi horror that has influenced countless others. A director, a writer, producer, a composer, and even an occasional actor who could even forget body bags. With over 20 films to his name, many of them classics. It's almost impossible to put into words just how much John has contributed to the horror genre and the films alike. And I probably should get my glasses while I'm trying to read. Yeah, I should make it easier. So yes, it's about time Carpenter received his claim into the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The stars were out to attend the ceremony, including actor Kurt Russell, well, and Keith David, and, as well as makeup wizard Greg uh, Nick Nicotah Hero, all of whom have worked numerous times with John and provided remarks during the proceeding. Greg Nicotero, who spoke for holding in cars that read "Obey," reference Carpenter's sci-fi classic "They Live." I actually covered that in a previous live stream. You can go check that out. Mentioning that he'd be there all day if we were to list all the films who had been influenced by John before wrapping up with the hope that by the time the things ends that thing ends, we're finally going to find out if Keith David or Kurt Russell was the thing. Keith David had followed the guitar hero up by saying, first, let me clear this up. It wasn't me. So the laughs and applause of the crowd, and before going on and to reminisce on how John gave him his first ever film job on the thing. He said he'd been working with John Carpenter and the cast of the thing. I knew I was the presence of something beautiful. This horror is so well deserved and well earned, and his work on the thing is what got him his role on They Live. Kurt Russell will then took to the podium, right, recounting his experience on the thing and his disbelief that John wanted him to wear a sombrero for the role. Well, he then admitted that John was right, going on to say there are very few directors whose signature is so clearly and instantly stamped upon in the film that within 30 seconds of viewing it, the informed watcher can boldly and confidently say out loud, "Oh, that's directed by so and so." John Carpenter is one of those rare, very few so and so's. There are nobody more deserving, my friend, than John Carpenter. And I should really cover the thing at some point. It's a good movie. A man of few words himself, the man of the hour, then approached the stage. He recounted moving into Los Angeles before Bowling Green in Kentucky. I was looking for a career here in Hollywood. Well, I found my career, and today I have found Hollywood. And with that, John Carpenter's star, the 2,806th to be added into the Walk of Fame, and was unveiled just outside the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, where fans and film lovers alike can see his name embedded amongst the stars forever, or however long the Walk of Fame lasts. Welcome to Hollywood, John. Welcome home. Right there. There's a star. There's a definitely well-earned star. Ah, boy. Ah. Yeah, I'll break this up a little bit with another song. And this time I actually remember to put the wheel up. How do you like that? I was blue just as blue as I could be. Every day was a cloudy day for me. Then good luck came a knocking at my door. Skies were gray, but they're not gray anymore. Blue skies smiling at me. Nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds singing a song. Nothing but bluebirds all day long. Never saw the sun shining so bright. Never saw things going so right. Noticing the days hurrying by. When you're in love, my how they fly. Blue days, all of them gone. Nothing but blue skies from now on. I should care if the wind blows east or west. I should fret if the worst looks the best. I should mind if they say it can't be true. I should smile, it's exactly what I'll do. Blue days, all of them gone. Nothing but blue skies from now on. Blue skies. Let's see. Looks like we got somebody else who's popped in to watch. Well, as I had mentioned earlier, I'm doing something a little bit different. So if you go and look at the description in the bottom, you can make a song request from that list, and yeah, please say hey in the comments. Moving right along. Let's see. I think that would probably be a good one to start with. Yes, we lost some legends. Val Kilmer sought refuge in his treehouse. Here's what happened when I visited. Yes, we lost Val Kilmer, unfortunately. In the summer of 2006, I made my way to a steep embankment on Porco Rivers. Pico Rivers. Jeez, I'm pronouncing things all wrong. It's to Santa Fe in New Mexico to meet Val Kilmer, the actor who died Tuesday at age 65. He was movie star or handsome at 46. He wasn't in promoting a new film, but wanted to show off something else, something childlike, something surreal, something that, as he put it could help him figure out what I'm all about. It was a treehouse, not some simple plank and nail contraption affixed next to a low branch, mind you. This was befitting an iconic actor who had made his name in Top Gun, The Doors, and many other films. It's an elaborate treehouse built high in a stand of oak tree. Is with material sourced from an old barn in his 6,000 acre spread. Well, I'd love to have that kind of land. Alfie had been saying it's for my kids, but it's really for me, he said. I had a treehouse as a child, and so being an adult, well, it's strangely, weirdly, satisfying to sit in a tree. One could well picture Kilmer sitting silently, shamanistically in that 300 square foot treehouse. Jeez, that's big. But possess the same intensity of singer and poet John Morrison, whom he had embodied so thoroughly in The Doors, whereas that he insisted on singing Morrison's song himself to eerie effect. By his son, and see true, Lee was hoping that at this treehouse, which he had dreamed up with Roderick Ramiro. Jeez. A New York-based treehouse designer to the rich and famous would lure his children into his western outpost. In, in truth, with our meeting, was suffused with a layer of sadness owing to the very absence of the two kids he shared with his ex-wife, the actress Jonah Wally Mercedes. He's then 14, Mercedes, then 14, and Jack 11. They live with most of their mother. They lived most of their with mo, They lived mostly with their mother in Los Angeles, but Kilmer clearly he pined for them. Not far from the treehouse, this was a beat up old Land Rover. On its dash was some graffiti included Jack Raw and Mercedes rules. They haven't seen in this place yet, but I can't wait. And Kilmer said it was fully lying on the treehouse stick and sure it's in a sweet soaked khaki shirt. My my sweatshirt. Son's a monkey. He'll be up on this tin roof in no time. For now, though, the house this was his, a remote outpost, a very remote outpost, high up in that treehouse, so far away from anything but the snakes. These hawks, coyote, he's another creatures that called the land home. Kilmer could take flight and escape the Hollywood noise that had turned the gifted artist into who by all accounts a difficult presence at times. Kilmer spoke to me in short bursts of reflection, and though he was cordial, well, he wasn't effused, as he seemed more like a friendly ghost drifting down to the river to share some thoughts before just as quickly drifting away. I remember wanting to ask so many questions about his acting method and paralysis of how he flew into stardom as Iceman opposite Tom Cruise and became Morrison of director Oliver Stone and of what Hollywood fame can do to actors that cause some to disappear into the high desert. But Kilmer wasn't open and for that sort of emotional mining, and he was willing to share some of his heart, but only a bit, not with a stranger. So for the rest of us, as for the movie loving world, we are left with it, with is what Kilmer brought onto the big screen. Performances is fused with power, emotion, and release. Performances that brought us in close, which is probably why Val Kilmer needed the lofty tree house, overlooking an ancient river or in a beautifully arid land and suffused with mystery. A place he needs to figure out what he was truly all about. Yeah, it's a true loss. And of course, we had to. He can't be the only one. We also have Richard Chamberlain and passed away too. Richard Chamberlain, lifelong partner Martin, a bit more mourns his death. Love never dies. Chamberlain, known for his lead roles in Thornbird and Shogun, and died on March 29th at the age of 90. Well, he hung in there. Richard Chamberlain's lifelong partner and best friend, and Martin and Rebecca is paying tribute to the late actor following his death at the age of 90. Chamberlain, who starred in miniseries like Shogun in 1980, in the Thornbriars in 1983. He died on Saturday, March 29th. His representative Harlan and Bull will confirm in a statement. Bull shared that Chamberlain died in Waimanalo, Hawaii. I'm don't know if I pronounced that correctly, of complications after suffering a stroke. Ooh. Chamberlain would have celebrated his 91st birthday on March 31st. Oh man, that sucks to die so close to your birthday. Chamberlain survived by Rabbit, his lifelong partner and best friend, whom he remained close to until his death, Bowles said. In a statement celebrating Chamberlain's life, Rabbit, a writer and producer, said, "Our beloved director is with the angels now. Oh, he is free, he is soaring to those loved ones for us. How blessed were we to have known such an amazing and loving soul." He added, "Love never dies. He's in our love is under his wings, lifting him to his next great adventure." Read on, and to learn more about Chamberlain, well, let's see what we have to say here. I'm not sure if I can read all of this because I'm already 30 minutes in here. They were together for over 30 years. In addition to his many roles in different movies and shows, Chamberlain also showed off his acting chops on the stage, each appearing in multiple plays throughout his career. In 2003, he spoke to the New York Times about starring in a play called The Stillborn Lover, and opened up about his relationship with Rabbit in the interview. Chamberlain explained that in the 60s and 80s he didn't like to discuss his personal life, but he was more willing to speak candidly in the early 2000s because he had no image to defend. "I played a cat and a mouse game with the press," as he said, referring to his effort to not speak about his sexuality. "Game over," he added. The publication reported at the time that Chamberlain and Rabbit had been together for 27 years. They had lived in Oa for over a decade and were building a beach house at the time. Rabbit was quoted in the article as well, marking the first time he and Chamberlain gave an interview as a couple, according to the New York Times. During the sit down, and Rabbit told Chamberlain, "You're lighter, you're freer now. You've lifted many veils." Rabbit insisted in editing Chamberlain's 2003 memoir, Shattered Love, which was released prior to the interview. Dr. Kildare, your star, opened up about sexuality in the book. And fans responded to the memoir with supportive messages. Rabbit recalled reading in one letter that said, "We always knew you were there." He added, "That's really touching. That really touched me." They stayed friends after they stopped living together. Over 10 years later, the New York Times caught up with Chamberlain, and again, he shared an update about his relationship with Rabbit. He told the newspaper in 2014 that he and Rabbit had lived in Hawaii as partners for more than 3 decades until Chamberlain located into Los Angeles. "We don't live together anymore, and we're much better friends than we've ever been," and Chamberlain said about Rabbit at the time. "So I'm in the business of advertising people who are married to get another house." In an obituary for Chamberlain published March 30th, the New York Times reported Mr. Bull said that before his death, Mr. Chamberlain and Mr. Rabbit had resumed living together in Hawaii. In the 2014 interview, Chamberlain also reflected on how he had struggled with his sexuality before coming out. Despite it being a hetero heartthrob early in his career, practically everyone in the business had known he was gay, he said. "We knew when you grow up in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, being gay is not only ain't easy. It's just impossible." He shared. You cannot do it." Chamberlain shared that he spent years in therapy, engaged in other practices to help with his identity. And that's the end of that article. Well, it's kind of a shame that he had to hide it for so long, isn't it? Ah. Oh boy, I should have taken a sip of my Tullamore Dew honey earlier. It makes my throat feel so much better now. That's the reason why I keep a half a glass. That's around. But then we get to a couple more songs. And I see we got another person listening in. Please say hi in the chat. And if you want me to make any requests for songs, check out the description and down below. See what we get this time. April showers. What April showers may come your way, they bring the flowers that bloom in May. So when it's raining, have no regrets. 'Cause it isn't raining rain, you know it's raining violets. And when you see clouds up on a hill, you know that there'll be crowds of daffodils. So just keep looking for that bluebird and listening for his song whenever April showers come along. And when you see clouds up on a hill, know that there'll be crowds of daffodils. So just keep looking for a bluebird and listening for his song whenever April showers come along. April showers is always a nice song. Oh, I forgot to tell everybody, bring your earplugs, I see. One more song to get the thing broken up nicely. Beautiful Dreamer. I just love they give me the songs that keep sticking in my head. Beautiful dreamer, wake unto me. Starlight and dewdrops are waiting for thee. Sounds of the rude world, heard in the day, lulled by the moonlight, have all passed away. Beautiful dreamer, queen of my song, list while I woo thee with soft melody. Gone are the cares of life's busy throng. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. Beautiful dreamer, out on the sea, mermaids are chanting the wild glory. Over the streamlet, vapors are born, waiting to fade at the bright coming morn. Beautiful dreamer, beam on my heart, and as the morn on the streamlet and sea, then will all clouds of sorrow depart. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. Beautiful dreamer. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. If not, well, I hope your plugs were safely fastened in there. Well, how about we get to the radio broadcast as for today?
Presenting the amazing interplanetary adventures of Flash Gordon and Dale Arden. Last week, you may remember, Flash Gordon and Dale Arden saved the Earth from destruction by shooting a rocket at a planet which threatened to collide with it. They became marooned on the planet called Mongo. The Emperor, Ming the Merciless, ordered Flash killed and commanded Dale to marry him. The royal princess, loving Flash, saved him. Soon, Prince of the Lion Men helped Flash prevent Ming from marrying Dale by breaking up the marriage ceremony and escaping underground. Now we continue the story. Flash and Dale are captured by the Sharkmen. Princess Aura appears and again saves Flash, who in turn tries to free Dale. But Soon's father, searching for his princely son, captures the princess and Flash. Rather than remain a captive, the proud Aura hurls herself over the cliff, only to be caught by the terrible leaves of a constrictor plant. Flash hastens to her aid.
Don't struggle, Princess Aura. I'll free you.
Oh, hurry. The leaves are crushing me.
I'll cut them with my sword.
Oh, be careful. Oh, careful, Flash. The plant may catch you.
Fix this devilish plant.
Oh, Flash, it caught you too.
Yes, I didn't think it could. This is a tough race.
What shall we do now?
I don't know. Yet.
Oh, Flash.
What is it, Princess? Are you in pain?
No. Look down there. A door in the cliff has opened.
Yes, so it has. There are soldiers coming out. Strange-looking guns. Those your father's men?
No, I never saw them before. They must have seen us coming to make us captives.
Well, at least they'll get us out of the clutches of this terrible plant.
Soldiers, that plant and kill it. But don't injure its victims. I want them brought to me alive.
Don't be afraid, Princess. Those men will catch you.
Be ready to catch our men. Now, the other one.
Here I come.
We're safe on the ground. But what will happen now?
John's the leader of those soldiers.
Soldiers, you did that well. Ah, Princess Aura.
Yes. How do you know me? I do not know you.
I know your father.
Oh,
What's this? Another white stranger?
Yes, Prince Baron.
Blindfold him and prepare our other white prisoner for the ordeal of the poisoned daggers.
As you command, Prince Baron.
what are you going to do with me?
Guard, take the princess to my quarters.
As you command, Prince Baron.
Ah, here comes our other white prisoner. Perhaps you know him, youth.
How can I tell? He's got a hood over his head. I can't see his face.
He says he is from the earth. I suppose you are from there, too?
I am.
I don't believe you. But no matter. Our hiding place must remain a secret, so both of you must die. Are the white prisoners prepared, guard?
They are, Prince Baron. Their left forearms are tied together.
And the poisoned daggers, are they ready?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now listen, prisoners. I am dipping these two daggers in dragon's blood. The slightest scratch from these blades means certain death. Guard, give these to the prisoners. On the count of 3, you will commence fighting. 1, 2, 3.
As Prince Baron utters the word, Flash steps back, jerking his mysterious antagonist off balance. He flings aside his dagger. Then he causes his opponent to drop his poisoned weapon. Picking up the dagger, Flash handing him to his opponent, and as the two whip off their blindfolds and reveal themselves to each other,
Flash Gordon, Dr. Zarko.
So you do know each other.
I should say we do. I'm mighty glad to see you, Doctor. I thought you were dead after our rocket crashed on this planet.
I was badly hurt, Flash. These fellows, they picked me up and brought me here. They made me act as their servant.
Well, we saved the Earth, didn't we, lad? We certainly did, Doctor. Now, Prince Baron, maybe you will believe that we are from the Earth. This man was the most brilliant scientist in the world. He was
Stop. My admiration for both of you is boundless. I would be honored to have you shake my hand and call me friend.
Your friend?
Yes.
Why, of course. Here's my hand.
And mine. Good. Now come to my quarters. My friends, I have invented an electric mole with which I intend to burrow underground into the palace of Ming the Merciless and overthrow his tyrannical government. Are you with me?
Certainly. You bet we are. We've got to rescue Dale and Soon from that fiend.
Princess Dora, you heard what I plan to do?
Yes. Please take me back to my father's palace with you.
You? Why, it's because of you that I am a hunted man with a price on my head. You will remain here as my prisoner. Come, my friends, come.
Oh, I will I? Start.
What is it?
What is your name?
Ronkel, my princess.
Ronkel. I thought I recognized your face. You fled into exile from my father's guard when you were caught stealing.
Yes,
Listen, Ronkel.
princess.
If you will help me warn my father of what those men plan to do, I will make you not only wealthy, but also a duke.
For once so lovely, my princess, how could I refuse? Come with me.
Unaware of what has happened in the hiding place and racing underground toward the palace of Ming the Merciless in their electric mole, Prince Baron, Dr. Zarkov, and Flash Gordon encounter a fierce Grocco, or armor-plated dragon. Flash climbs out of the mole and gives battle, saving his companions. For this, Prince Baron promises that if they succeed in overthrowing Ming, Flash will be made a Prince of Mongo, and anything he desires will be his. Finally, the electric mole breaks through the floor of the central hall of Ming's palace. The door opens and the trio emerge from the metal burrowing machine.
Come, my friends. We have arrived.
So we have. What is our next move, Prince Baron?
This is the central hall of Ming's palace. We'll go up those stairs, Dr. Zarkov, and surprise the inner guard.
Prince Baron, look.
Ming's armored men.
We've been betrayed.
Yes.
But how could the news have reached here before us? Let us get our rate on.
It's no use, Doctor. The armor of those soldiers is ray-proof.
Here comes Ming the Merciless with his high priest. Dale, thank heavens he's all right.
Welcome back to my palace, Flash Gordon, and welcome to your companions. Now just lash them to that pillar over there and execute them.
Oh, Flash, darling, I love you so much.
Dale, my dear, we did our best to save you, but we've been betrayed. I guess they have us now.
Let them shoot. They'll kill me, too, and we'll be together forever.
Very well, Dale Arden. You can have him in death. Captain, proceed with the execution.
Shoot, you yellow dogs. We aren't afraid to die.
Ready? Then stop. Hold your fire. Froggy, what does it mean? If you were not the high priestess, I would have your tongue torn out for your insolence. I ask you, remember, sire, that according to the sacred writ of Tao, even a traitor has the right to choose between the firing squad and the terrible test. True, Sugi. And on second thought, the test would furnish us with greater amusement. Yes, sire. We must abide by the sacred writ. And then, too, I see no reason why the girl should be killed. Captain, release the prisoners. They shall undergo the terrible test. First, bring them over to the pit. All right, come on. This is the test of the torture pit. Flash Gordon, you and Baron will stand on each end of the narrow platform and with long whips try to topple each other into the pit, where a surprise will be awaiting you. Take your places.
The two mount the platform. Flash ducks as Prince Baron's whip winds over his head. Then Flash's whip hits Baron with such force as to knock him off balance and into the pit. Dropping his whip, Flash leaps after him. As he throws the unconscious form of Prince Baron over his shoulder and prepares to climb out, a transparent metal sheet silently slides over the top of the pit, trapping them. At the same time, Flash hears a growl, and looking around, he sees three snarling tigrants. Placing Prince Baron on the floor, Flash turns on the fierce beast. The first one charges. Leaping high in the air, Flash comes down on the Tigeran's back with a powerful wrench, breaks its neck. Instantly, the other two Tigerans leap at each other to fight for the possession of the body. Furiously, the battle rages. Finally, both animals are down, wounded unto death. Then Prince Baron regains consciousness.
Where are we?
You're all right, Prince Baron.
Yes.
We're in the pit, but they trapped us with that transparent metal lid.
And you saved us from these beasts. Oh, you are superb, Flash.
That was easier than figuring how we're going to get out of here. Look up there. Prince Soon. Yes, he's just in time. Soon! Roll that metal lid back. He nods that he understands.
There.
He's done it. We're free. Come along.
Meanwhile, in the temple of Tao, Ming and Dale are about to be married by Zogi, the high priest.
By now, Dale Arden, my saber-toothed Tigrants have torn your hero to pieces.
Oh, poor Flash. He died trying to save me. Nothing matters now.
Here comes Zogi to perform the ceremony.
Oh, mighty Ming, ruler of Mongo and the universe, does your supreme intelligence take this Earth woman to be your wife and empress of Mongo?
I most certainly do.
And you, Dale Arden, do you take this just and brilliant man to be your lord and master?
I don't care what happens now.
As you have accepted each other in matrimony before the great God Tao, I pronounce you...
Stop.
The idol speaks.
I, Tao, forbid this marriage.
It is a trick. Fools! A stone idol cannot talk. Zogi, swing back the statue.
At once, sire.
Flash Gordon.
Flash, darling. You told me you were dead.
The Earthman and two companions alive.
Go, God. Shoot them down. The marriage must go on.
Wait! Sire, the sacred writs say you cannot execute a man who has passed the test of the Tigrans. Guard, drop your weapons or Tao will curse you all.
What? You dare defy me?
I only quote the sacred writs. As High Priest, it is my duty to interpret and enforce its dictates.
Guard, give me your sword. Zogi, I will stop your jabbering mouth forever.
Oh, how awful. He's killed the high priest.
Carry the body away, guard.
Flash, my darling. I thought I'd lost you.
Never as long as I have strength in these two arms and a breath of life in my body.
So Tao forbids me to slay you, eh? Well, Tao and I will both laugh while you rabble slave in the prison city of the Hawkmen.
Death would be more desirable.
As for you, Dale Arden, you shall be taught to act like my empress.
Doomed to a fate worse than death among the cruel Hawkmen. What terrifying adventures await our friends? Be sure to listen in again next week and hear the further amazing adventures of Flash Gordon and Dale Arden.
Yeah, and that was Flash Gordon. I hope you enjoyed that. I should have that back up on my channel as a standalone in probably a couple weeks here. Let's see here. I almost forgot to do the parting glass for Val Kilmer and Richard Chamberlain. So let's get to that. Of all the money that e'er I had, I spent it in good company, and all the harm I've ever done, at last it was to none but me, and all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be to you all. So fill to me the parting glass, and drink a health whate'er befall, and gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. Of all the comrades that e'er I had, they'd sorry for my going away, and all the sweethearts that e'er I had, they'd wish me one more day to stay. Excuse me. But since it fell unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. A man may drink and not be drunk. A man may fight and not be slain. A man may court a pretty girl, and perhaps be welcomed back again. But since it has so ought to be, but a time to rise and a time to fall. So come fill to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be to you all. Good night and joy be to you all. Yeah. Get the crud out of my throat. Excuse me. Right. Yes. Good night and joy be to you, Val Kilmer and Richard Chamberlain. Well, I guess next thing for us to get into is the movie trivia. And of course, tonight's trivia is StarGate, the movie here. In high school, the high school teacher, Omar Zudi, he claimed in a 1995 a copyright infringement lawsuit that virtually the entire film was stolen from a manuscript he began writing as a college student. Zudi, he even had his former Egyptology professor from Johns Hopkins University he vouched for him. Contrary to popular belief, Zudi he never personally submitted his manuscript directly to Roland Emmerich and Jandine Devlin. He claimed he submitted it only once in the 20th Century Fox, who rejected it in 1984, or 5 years before Emmerich and Devlin and even met. The suit alleges is that Studio Canal eventually he acquired a copy of the manuscript and some years later hired Emmerich and Devlin to make StarGate using Zudi's ideas. However, Emmerich claimed that he got the idea while in film school in München, and after seeing the documentary The Chariots of the Gods in 1970, in which Rich von Duncan claimed Duncan claims that all great civilizations were created by aliens, and then developed the idea after working with Devlin and Moon on Moon 44 in 1990. Zudi he sued Emmerich and Devlin and all of the film's other producers, Studio Canal and MGM for 140 million. In 1997, the case was settled out of court for 50,000, and in 2013, Zudi published a novel called Egyptscape, based on the manuscript he says he submitted to Fox. That's a long one. because MGM Studios had little faith in the movie, producer Dean Devlin started setting up booths at every sci-fi convention in the U.S. 6 months before the film's release in order to promote the movie. He also created the first promotional website on the then new internet. Go tell you how long ago that was, huh? To get the movie under the attention of fans, along with the makers of Star Trek Generations, which was also in 1994, which was released on the same date. Have made the same claim. Devlin said that until he started to explain that the movie would be about aliens and ancient Egyptian culture, a lot of sci-fi fans initially thought that the star in the title meant that it was a ripoff of Star Wars. I don't remember that controversy. But then again, I was in my mid early teens at the time, so who knows. Devlin agreed to do the film because he had always wanted to do a Lawrence Arabian. He is in space, and so he helped Ronald Emmerich to develop the story. In a magazine interview, James Spader, who played Daniel Jackson, and said that he found the original screenplay awful, but also that it was so bad it actually intrigued him. He then met with Ronald Emmerich, which was inspired by the director's passion for the project, and decided to make the movie because he felt that the energy and craziness of making such a film would translate into an exciting final film. He also admitted that he did the film for the money. Acting for me is a passion, but it's also a job, and I've always approached it as such. I have the certain manual labor view of acting. There's no shame in taking a film because you need some money. Need some. And then this interesting little tidbit I came across here. That's the wrong slide. Okay, where the heck is the right slide? What the heck? Okay, it's completely skipping over one of my slides for some reason. Let's see if I can get it to work this way. Stupid internet. Rick Moranis was offered to play the role of Daniel Jackson, but turned it down to work on the Flintstones, which is also released in 1994, and Little Giants, again in 1994. Now that would have been an interest. I had to get this one off. I had to fight with this to get this slide up for some reason. But that would have been an interesting change to the character. I could picture Rick Moranis playing the character a lot more nerdier than what he did in the film. And I kind of wonder what how that would have influenced the TV series he's in casting. getting back to the regular slide here. Boy, all kinds of crud in my throat today. Kurt Russell was highly sought after by producer Dean Devlin to play the nonsense and special Colonel O'Neill. Basically, he needed a big name to sell the film abroad, as the movie he was basically independently produced. When Russell was sent the script, he thought it was terrible and turned the film down. The producer made an increasingly generous salary offer until he finally accepted a $7 million in paid check. Jeez. Devlin later learned that Russell had somehow been sent the first draft of the script, which Devlin himself admitted was terrible. Rather than in the final draft, when Russell read the shooting script, he said, "Oh, that isn't so bad." As originally scripted and filmed, Ra J. E. Davidson and was not an alien himself, but an Egyptian man and working for the aliens and to oppress his fellow humans, but was basically a slave himself. After the poor test screening, producer Dean Devlin and director Ronald Emmerich conceived the idea that Ra himself would be an alien. Ra's glowing eye effect and deep voice were added in post-production and to make him scarier and more intimidating. The trait was continued in StarGate SG-1 in 1997 and as an identifier to people who are taken over by Goa'uld. James Davison was not a professional actor, but a fashion designer in London. And when he was discovered as at a party, who led to his casting in an Oscar-nominated performance in The Crying Game. His dislike of the attention that he received after that movie, he made him reluctant to take the role of Ra in this film. He didn't want to just turn the offer down, and so he made what he expected it to be an unaccepted demand of $1 million. That was accepted, and he appeared, but he has virtually quit acting after the performance, save for on TV, movie, he's in a short film, and went back to being a fashion assistant. Jay Davison thought his performance was terrible and did not know that his voice would be altered, which was an afterthought during post-production, or that he would otherwise be made to appear any more alien after the first screening of the film. Dean Devlin found Davidson in tears. When Devlin attempted to apologize, Davidson responded, "No, you saved me," and thanked him. French Stewart. This is French Stewart's first film. You actually probably recognize him more for playing Inspector Gadget. French Stewart, Lieutenant Ferretti, is the only actor to appear in both this film and StarGate Universe. This in 2009. In the StarGate Universe, he played Dr. Andrew Covell. And that's him in his other role on Stargate. The horse-like creature on the planet were real horses with the external costumes draped over them. Dogs were also used. A combination of animatronics and Clydesdale horses were used to portray the camel-like desert animals, which were named uh, mastages. Mastages is behind in the scenes. I'd love to hear that actually pronounced on screen. For sure, it's where the creatures appear here in the distance, and small dogs were used. So that's probably a small dog that we're seeing right there. The StarGate was originally black, but since it looked like a large rubber tire, it was painted in silver at the last moment. According to actor Kelly Nevin and Castro, and Catherine, the prop is so heavy that it genuinely took the number of people seen in the shot to raise it during the excavation scene. And that's what we have here is one of the faraway shots where they're raising it. A little bit closer look. So it really did take this many people to lift this damn thing. Vateri Hirschon, in addition, for the role of Shuri, but lost to Millie Vitel. Hirschon would later play the character renamed Shuri. He in 3 episodes of StarGate SG-1, and that was her as a Harrison in that there, and that's the original actress who got the role. Alex Cruz, who's Scara, and Eric Avery, he Cusfu, who are the only actors to appear in both the StarGate 1994 and the StarGate SG-1, and they only reprised the only ones to reprise their roles in any subsequent StarGate production. Now, getting in, I had to add StarGate SG-1 into this because the StarGate movie was what got the ball rolling, but it really came into its own as StarGate SG-1. And this is what really made it what it is. So I had to add a little bit about this as well. Unusual for a series, he's sometimes ordered 44 episodes, second season, before showing in the pilot. Seems to be becoming less unusual nowadays. Halfway through the first season, and they ordered another 44 episodes. Christopher Judge Teal'c and Amanda Tapping and Samantha Carter are the only cast members who to stay with the series throughout its entire run. Yeah, it kind of became a hodgepodge of what old it's kind of like a dumping ground for other sci-fi show actors. You had characters from Farscape, Star Trek. They just dumped a bunch of people in there from different sci-fis. It's near the end. Christopher appeared in 212 of the series. He's 2000. I want to keep saying 2,000. 213 episodes. being absent only from Prometheus, Sunbound. In second place is Amanda Tapping, who appear in a total of 207 episodes. Donis Davis, who performed Richard Dean Anderson on MacGyver. Yes, that's pretty much what he was known for when he took the role. He was a cement truck driver in Blown Out in Poacher in the injured in 1994. Did I get it wrong? Oh, I think I got the wrong thing here. But anyway, the two work together or in that episode. Michael Shanks, who played the character of Daniel Jackson in SG-1, and left the show after the fifth season due to creative differences with the show's producers. He returned into the show in season 7 after negotiations between the producer and Shanks' representatives resulted in a new agreement that allowed him to return into the show in a reduced capacity. Shanks continued to appear here on the show as a recurring character for the remainder of its run, and also appeared in the show's two direct-to-DVD movie, Stargate: The Ark of Truth and Stargate Continuum. Sergeant Walter Harriman and was loosely based on Walter Radar O'Reilly from MASH. Throughout the series, we see Walter display many radar-like qualities, particularly his ability to respond on the requests of his superiors before being asked. Coincidentally, both characters were portrayed by actors named Gary. Stargate SG-1 and its spin-offs are the only television series endorsed by and supported by the United States and its armed forces, particularly the Air Force Space Command, the predecessor to the modern-day U.S. Space Force. Exactly why are we doing that, U.S. Space Force, anyway? Although the SGC is a fictional location, its home base is at the Cheyenne Mountain Complex is an actual space for this installation and belonging to the Air Force at the time of the series. The exterior shot of the main entrance tunnel to the mountain base is the actual entrance. In the bay stores seen in closing any episode, which features the SGC going into lockdown and do exist at the facility in real life. Thought that was pretty interesting. (999) 42 Apophis is a large asteroid that was named in 2005 by astronomers David Tholen and Roy Tucker, both fans of the show. At one time, there was concern that the asteroid might strike the Earth in 2029, causing widespread devastation. However, more accurate analysis followed over the years, which came to the conclusion that the asteroid will miss. If only. Guess we can't trust this giant meteor, huh? It was originally planned to end in the series after 7 seasons and make a feature film which would be the show's finale. By the show's ratings on Sci-Fi led to it being renewed for an 8th season. The film turned into the 7th season in 2-parter, Lost City Part 1 and Lost City Part 2. And this is just a little screen cap from Lost City Part 1. At least I think it's Part 1. Yeah, StarGate. Well, I'm at it here. I know. Here's a little song by Tom Lear, who opened his entire roster to people to sing. This is particularly one of my particular favorites. It's Poisoning the Pigeons in the Park. Spring is here, spring is here. Life is Skittles and life is beer. I think the loveliest time of the year is spring, don't you? Don't, of course you do. But there's one thing that makes spring complete for me, and makes every Sunday a treat for me. All the world is in tune in a spring afternoon when we're poisoning the pigeons in the park. Every Sunday you'll see my sweetheart and me as we poison the pigeons in the park. When they see us coming, the birdies all try and hide, but they still go for peanuts when coated with cyanide. The sun's shining bright, everything seems alright when we're poisoning the pigeons in the park. We've gained notoriety and caused much anxiety in the Autobahn Society with our games. They called in piety and lack of propriety and quite a variety of unpleasant names. But it's not against any religion to want to dispose of the pigeon. So if Sunday you're free, why don't you come with me and we'll poison the pigeons in the park? And maybe we'll do a squirrel or two while we're poisoning the pigeons in the park. We'll murder them all amongst laughter and merriment, except for a few we take home to experiment. My pulse will be quicking with each drop of strychnine we feed to a pigeon. It just takes a smidgen to poison the pigeons in the park. Now, if you're not aware, this is going to be Tom Lear's birthday coming up this Wednesday. And to celebrate, I put together a little song I wrote the lyrics, and you're just in time to hear my little my new Suno song. But this is going to be Tom Lear's birthday on Wednesday, and I put together a little song, and I think I was trying to capture his satirical little style with it. Yeah, and we can maybe we'll be Wednesday. So maybe we'll do a thing now. I can play it again for your show. But here's Tom Lear's a song I made.
Happy birthday, hip hip hooray. You're rotting gently day by day. Your teeth are false, your eyes are dim. Time is stealing your hair and you're next of kin. So light the candles, watch them flare. A fire hazard beyond compare. The cake is like a funeral pyre, a blazing ode to your nth year. So sing along, you decrepit star. We're shocked you've made it this far. A toast to life, though it's nearly spent. Each year's alone with a steep percent. Your wit's a blade that time can't rust, a mind we treasure, grimly just. Your age defies all rational sums. Happy birthday, old witty one. So here's to you with a sneer and cheer, a twisted tune for your satirical jeers. Maybe soon you won't be here. Happy birthday, Tom Lehrer.
Yeah, that was a little song I put together for him. And why is it there? Wrong. So that will be up on my channel Wednesday. If I hope I can remember to put it up. Actually, I might just schedule it later just to make sure it goes up. But guess we'll be moving into the reading the next chapter of the Time Machine here. So we're at this chapter and then one more chapter next week. So this is chapter 6. The Tramp of the White Sphinx. About 8 or 9 in the morning, and came to the same seat of yellow metal from which I had viewed the world upon the evening of my arrival. I thought of my hasty conclusions on that evening, and could not refrain from laughing bitterly at my confidence. Here was the same beautiful scene, in the same abundant foliage, the same splendid palace, is a magnificent ruin. It's the same silver river running in between its fertile banks. It's the very robe. It's a beautiful people moving hither and thither among the trees. And some were bathing in exactly the same place where I had saved Edwina, and that suddenly gave me a keen stab of pain. And like ink bolt upon on the landscape, it rose the cupolas above of the way he's in the underworld. I understood now that all the beauty of the overworld people covered very pleasant was their day. As pleasant as the day the cattle in the field would like the cattle. Well, they knew of no enemy, and provided again no needs, and their end was the same. I agree. You have to think, how brief you have to dream of the human intellect had been. It had committed suicide. It had set itself steadfastly towards its comfort and ease, a balance in society with security and permanency, it watched world as its watched world. It had attained in its hopes. It was to come into the yes, at last. Once slight in poverty, he must have reached the almost absolute safety. The rich had been assured of his wealth and comfort, and toiler assured of his life and work. No doubt, out in that perfect world, there had been no unemployment problem, no social question left unresolved, and a great quiet it had followed. It is a law of nature. Here we overlook that intellectual versatility is a in compensation for change, danger, and trouble. An animal perfectly in harmony with this environment is a perfect mechanism. Nature never appeals to intelligence until habit and instinct are useless. There is no intelligence where there is no change and no need of change. Only those animals must partake of intelligence that have to meet a huge variety of needs and dangers. So, as I see it, the upper world old man had drifted towards his feeble prettiness in the underworld to mere mechanical industry. But the perfect state had lacked one thing, even for mechanical perfection, absolute permanency. Apparently, as time went on, and the feeding of the underworld, however it was affected, it had become disjointed. It had mother necessity, he who had been saved for a few thousand years, came back again, and he began in below. The underworld, being in contact with machinery, which however perfect, still need some little thought outside habit, had probably retained perfor, or it's rather more initiative. if less of every other human in character than the upper. And when another meat failed them, they turned into what old habit it had hitherto forbidden. So I say I saw in the last view of the world, old 800 in 2701. And it may be as wrong an explanation and as mortal wit it could invent, as it is how the thing shaped itself to me, and as is that I give to you. After the fatigues, excitement, and terrors of the past day, is in spite of my grief, the seat in the tranquil view in the warm sunlight were very pleasant. I was very tired and sleepy, and soon my theorizing passed into dozing, and catching myself at that, I took my own hint and spread myself out the turf. If I had a long and refreshing sleep, I woke a little before sunset. I now felt safe again since being caught napping by the Morlocks and stretching myself. I came on down on the hill towards the White Sphinx. I had my crowbar in one hand and the other her hand and played into the matches in my pocket. And now came a most unexpected thing. As I approached the pedestal of the Sphinx, I found the bronze valves were opened. They had slid down into grooves. At that, I stopped short before them, hesitating to enter. Within was a small apartment, and on a raised place in the corner, there was the time machine. I had the small lever in my pocket. So here, after all my elaborate preparations for the siege of the White Sphinx, was a meek surrender through my earn and borrow away. He almost sorry not to use it. A sudden thought came into my head as I stooped toward the portal. For once, at least, I grasped some mental operation of the Morlocks, suppressing a strong inclination to laugh. I stepped up through the bronze frame and up to the time machine. I was surprised to find it had been carefully oiled and cleaned. I have suspected it since the Morlocks had even partially taken it to pieces while trying in their dim way to grasp its purpose. Now, as I stood and examined it finding pleasure in the mere touch of the contrivance, the thing I had expected had happened. The bronze panel suddenly slid it up and been struck like the frame with a clang. I was in the dark, trapped, so the Morlocks thought. At that, I chuckled gleefully. I could already hear their murmuring laughter as they came toward me. Very calmly, I tried to strike the match. I'd only need to fix on the lever and depart right then, and like a ghost. But I had overlooked one little thing. The matches were of the abominable kind that light only on the box. So you may imagine in how all my calm vanished. The little birds were close upon me. One touched me. I had a sweeping blow in the dark at them, and with the levers, and began to scramble onto the saddle of the machine. Then came in one hand upon on me, and then another. Then I had simply to fight again against their persistent fingers for my levers, and at the same time feel for the steady over which they is fitted. One indeed, they almost got away from me as it slipped from my hand. I had to butt in the dark with my head, and I could hear the more like skull ring, and to recover it. It was a nearer thing than the fight in the forest. I think that last scramble. But at last, as the lever was fitted, it and pulled over the clinging hand, and slipped from me. The darkness presently fell from my eyes. I found myself in the same grey-lit and tumlet I had already described. I have already told you of the sickness and confusion that comes with time traveling. And this time, I was not seated properly in the saddle, but sideways in an unstable fashion. And for indefinite time, I clung to the machine as it swayed and vibrated, quite unheeding how I went and when I brought up myself up to look at the dial once again, I was amazed to find where I had arrived. One dial or recorded day is another thousands of days, another millions of days, another thousands of millions. Now, instead of reversing the lever, as I had pulled them ever so as to go forward with them, and when I came to look at these indicators, I found that thousands of instances had hand in the sweeping round on this fast as is the second in of a watch into futurity. Very cautiously, for I remember my former headlong fall, I began to reverse my motion, slower and slower, when the circling hands until the 1001 seemed motionless. The dial was no longer a mere mist, upon on its scale, still slower until the dim outlines of a desolate beach grew visible. Now, this is a little interesting little addition here. The following paragraph is omitted from most editions of the Time Machine, so we're getting a little special little addition here. I stopped. I was on a bleak moorland and covered with a sparse vegetation and gray with a thin hor- frost. The time was midday. The orange sun shone of its affluence, brooding near the meridian in the sky of drabby gray. Only a few black brushes broke the monotony of the scene. In the great buildings of this man among whom it seems to me I had been so recently, he had vanished and left no trace. Not a mound, not even mark their position. Hill and valley, sea and river, all under the iron work of the rain and frost had melted it into new forms. No doubt, too, the rain and snow had long since shut the Morlock tunnels. A nipping breeze stung my hands and face. So far as I could see, there were neither hill nor trees, nor rivers, only an uneven stretch of cheerless plateau. Then suddenly a dark pool rose out of the moor, something that gleamed like a serrated row of iron plates, and vanished among immediately the impression, and then I became aware of a number of faint gray things, color to almost the exact tint of the frostbit soil, which were browsing here and there upon scantly grass and running to and fro. I saw one jump with a sudden start, and then in my eye I detected perhaps a score of them. At first I thought they were rabbits, or some small breed of raccoon or kangaroo. Then, as one came hopping near me, I perceived that it belonged to neither of these groups. It was plantigrade. Its hind legs rather the longer, or it was tailless and covered with a strange grayish hair that thickened about the head into a sky terrier's mane. As I had understood that in the Golden Age man had killed out almost all the other animals, sparing only a few of the more ornamental. I was naturally curious about the creatures. They did not seem afraid of me, but browsed on, and much as rabbit would do in a place unfrequented by men. And it occurred to me that I might perhaps secure a specimen. I got off the machine and picked up a big stone. I had scarcely done, and so when the little creature came in within an easy range, I was so lucky as to hit hit it on the head, and it rolled over at once and lay motionless. I ran into it at once. It remained still, almost as if it were killed. I was surprised to see that the thing had five feeble digits to both its fore and hind feet. The forefeet, indeed, were almost as human as the forefeet of a frog. It had moreover, a roundish head with a projecting forehead and forward-looking eyes, obscured by its lank hair. A disagreeable apprehension flashed across my mind as I knelt down and seized my capture, intending to examine its teeth another untolerable point which might uh, show human characteristics. The metallic-looking object to which I have already alluded had reappeared above a ridge in the moor, coming toward me and making a strange clattering sound as it came. Forthwith, the grey animal was about me. He began to answer with a short, weak yelping, as if of terror, and bolted it off in a direction opposite to that from which this new creature approached. They must have hidden in burrows or behind in brushes and tussocks. For in a moment, not one of them was visible. I rose to my feet and stared at the grotesque monster. I can only describe a bit by comparing it to a centipede. It stood at about 3 feet high and had a long, segmented body, perhaps 30 feet long, and with curiosity, overlapping in greenish black plates. It seemed to crawl all upon a multitude of feet, looping in its body as it advanced. Its blunt and round head with a polygonal arrangement of black eyes, spots, that's carried two flexible, writhing horn-like antennae. It was coming along. I should judge as a pace about 8 or 10 miles an hour, and it left me little time for thinking, leaving my gray animal or gray man, and whichever it was on the ground. I set off for the machine, and halfway I paused, regretting that abominant, but I glanced over my shoulder, destroy any such regret. And when I gained in the machine, the monster was scarce 50 yards away. It was certainly not a vertebrate animal. It had no snout. Its mouth was fringed and joined into dark colored plates. But I did not care for a nearer view. I traveled. I traveled one day and stopped again, hoping to find Colossus gone and some vestige of my victim. But I should judge the giant centipede. It did not trouble itself about bones. At any rate, both had vanished. The faintly human touch of these little creatures has perplexed me greatly. If you come to think, there is no reason why degenerate humanity should not come at last to differentiate into so many species as the descendants of the mudfish, whose father had all the land invertebrates. And so I saw no more of an insect in Colossus, as it is to my thinking, the segmented creature must have been. Evidently, the physiological difficulties that at present keep all the insects small had been surmounted at last. In this division of the animal kingdom had arrived at the long-awaited supremacy which its enormous energy and vitality deserve. I made several little attempts to kill will capture another of the grayish vermin, but none of my missiles were so successful as my first. And after perhaps a dozen disappointing throws that left my arm aching, I felt the gust of irritation at my folly in coming so far into futurity without weapons or equipment. I resolved to run in on for one glimpse into the still remote future, one peep into the deeper abyss of time, and then to return into you in my own epoch. Once more I remounted the machine, and once more the world grew hazy and gray. As I drove on, a peculiar change crept over the appearance of things. The unwanted grayness grew lighter, and though I was traveling with prodigious philosophy, the blinking success of day and night, which was usually indicative of a slower pace, is returned and grew more and more marked. This puzzled me very much at first. The alterations of night and day grew slower and slower, and so did the passage of the sun across the sky, until they seemed to stretch through centuries at last. As the steady twilight brooded over the earth, the twilight only broken now and then, and when it come, it glared across the darkening sky. The band of light that had indicated the sun and had long since disappeared, for the sun had ceased to set. It simply rose and fell all in the west, and grew ever broader and more red. All traces of the moon had vanished. The circling of the star was growing slower and slower. Had given in place to creeping points of light. At last, some time before he stopped, of the sun, and red and very large, which halted motionless upon the horizon, a vast dome glowing with a dull heat, and now and then suffering a momentary eh, extinction at one time. It had for a little while glowed more brightly again, but it speedily reverted into its sullen reheat, perceived by the slowing down of its rising and setting, that the work of the tidal drag was done. The earth had come into rest with one face to the sun, and even as our own time the moon faces the earth. That's the end of the omitted paragraphs. I stopped very gently and sat upon the time machine, and looking around the sky. It was no longer blue. Northeastward it was inky black, and out of the blackness it shone brightly and steadily the pale white stars. Over her head it was a deep Indian red and starless. Yes. Southeastward eastward it grew brighter to a glowing scarlet. It were cut by the horizon, and lay the huge hull of the sun, and red and motionless. The rocks above me were of harsh reddish color, and all the trace of light, if I could see yet first, was the intensely green vegetation, and that covers every projecting point on the southeastern face. It was the same rich green that one sees on frost moss or on the lichen in caves. Plant hands which like these grew in perpetual twilight. The machine was standing on a sloping beach. The sea stretched away into the southwest. To right is into a sharp, bright horizon, and again in that wan sky. There were no breakers and no waves, for not a breath of wind in the stirring, and only a slight oily smell rose and fell like gentle breathing, and showed that the eternal sea was still moving and living along the margin, and where the water sometimes broke was a thick incrustation of salt, pink under the lurid sky. There was a sense of oppression in my head, and I noticed that I was breathing very fast. The sensation reminded me of my only experience of momentary mountaineering from that age which they are to be more rarefied than it is now. Far away, the desolate slope, I heard a harsh scream and saw a thing like a huge white butterfly go slanting and fluttering up into the sky, circling and disappear over some low hillocks. Looks beyond. The sound of its voice is so dismal that I shivered and seated myself more firmly on the machine. And looking around on me again, I saw that quite near what I had taken to be a reddish mass of rock was moving slowly towards me. Then I saw the thing. It was really a monstrous crab-like creature. Can you imagine a crab as large as yonder table, with its many legs moving slowly and uncertainly, its big claws swaying, its long antenna like carters, its whips waving and feeling, and its stalked eye is gleaming at you on either side of its metallic front. His back was corrugated and ornamented with undulating, ungainly bosses and greenish incrustation and blotched here and there. I could see the many palps of its complicated mouth flickering and feeling as it moved. As I stared at the sinister apparition crawling toward me, I felt the tickling on my neck, on my cheek, as though a fly had, had lighted there. I tried to brush it away with my hand, but in a moment it returned, and then almost immediately came another by my ear. I struck at this and caught something in, in, thread-like. It was drawn swiftly out of my hand, and with the frightful qualm, I turned and saw that I had grasped the antenna of another monster crab that stood just behind me. Its evil eyes were wriggling on the stall. Its mouth was all alive with appetite, and its vast, ungainly claws smeared with an algae slime and were descending upon me. In a moment, in my hand was on the lever, and I had placed a month between myself and these monsters. But I was still on the same beach. I saw all of them distinctly now. As soon as I stopped, dozens of them seemed to be crawling in here and there in the somber light among the foliage sheets of intent and screen. I cannot convey the sense of abominable desolation that hung over the world, the red eastern sky, the northward blackness, the salt dead sea, the stony beach, each crawling with these foul, slow stirring monsters in the uniform, poison looking green of the delicious plants, and the thin air that her its one's lungs, and so contributed to an appalling effect. Like I moved on 100 years, and there was the same red sun, and a little larger, a little duller, the same dying sea, the same chill air, and the same crowd of earthly crustaceans is creeping in and out among the green weed and the red rocks. And in the western sky, I saw a curving pale line in like a vast new moon. So I travel, will stop ever again in a great stride of 1,000 years or more, drawn on by the mystery of the earth's fate. watching with a strange fascination, and the sun grew larger and duller in the westward sky, and the light of the older earth ebbed away. As more than 30 million in years hence the huge red hot dome of the sun and had come to obscure nearly a tenth part of the darkling heavens. Then I stopped once more for the crawling multitude of crabs had disappeared, and the red beach, say, for its lovely green in liverwort, its lichens, and seemed lifeless. And now it was flecked with white. A bitter cold assailed me. Rare white flakes ever and again and came eddying down to the northeastward. The glare of snow lay under in the starlight of the stable sky, and I could see in undulating crests of hillocks punkish white. There were fringes of ice along the sea margin, and with drifting in masses is further out. But the main expanse of that salt ocean, all bloody under the eternal sunset, and it was still unfrozen. I looked about me to see if any traces of animal life remained. A certain unidentifiable apprehension and still kept me in the saddle of the machine, but I saw nothing moving in earth or sky or sea. The green slime on the rocks hung so alone and testified that life was not extinct. A shallow little sandbank had appeared in the sea, and the water had receded from the beach. I fancied I saw some black object flopping about on this bank, but it became motionless as I looked at it, and I judged that my eyes had been deceived, even that the bank that object was merely a rock. The stars in the sky were incessantly bright and seemed more to twinkle very little. Suddenly, I noticed that the circular westward outline of the sun had changed. As I concavely bay had appeared in the curve. I saw all this grow larger for a minute, perhaps. I stared aghast at the blackness that was creeping over the day. And then I realized that an eclipse was beginning. Either the moon or the planet Mercury. He was passing across the sun's disk. Naturally, he at first I took it to be the moon, but there is much to incline me to believe that what I really saw was the transit of an inner planet passing very near to the Earth. The darkness grew apace. I could a cold wind and began to blow in freshening gusts as from the east, and the showering white flakes in the air increased in number. From the edge of the sea came ripple and whisper. Beyond on these lifeless sound, as the world was silent. It would be hard to convey the silent stillness of it. All the sounds of man and the bleating of sheep, the cry of birds, the hum of insects, the stir that makes the background of our lives, all that was over. As the darkness thickened and the ebbing flakes grew more abundant and dancing before my eyes, and the cold of the air more intense. At last, one by one, and swiftly, one after the other, the white peaks of the distant hills vanished into the blackness. The breeze rose to a moaning wind, and I saw the black eccentric shadow of the eclipse sweeping in towards me. In another moment, and the pale stars alone were visible. All else was really this obscurity. The sky was absolutely black. horror of this great darkness came on me. The cold, the smoke, to my marrow. When the pain I felt in breathing overcame me, I shivered and the deadly nausea seized me. Then, like a red hot bow in the sky, he appeared at the edge of the sun. I got off the machine to recover myself. I felt giddy and incapable of facing the return journey. As I stood sick and confused, as I saw again in the moving thing on the shoal, there was no mistake now. That it was a moving thing. Again, the red water of the sea. He was a round thing, the size of a football, or perhaps, or it may be a bigger and tentacle trail down from it. It seemed black again against the weltering blood red water, and it was hoping fitfully about. Then I felt I was faint, fainting, by a terrible dread of lying helpless in that remote and awful twilight. It sustained me with all I clambered upon the saddle. So I came back. For a long time I must have been insensible upon the machine. The blinking succession of the day is night was resumed, and the sun got gold again. The sky blue. I breathed with greater freedom. The fluctuating in contours of the land and ebbed and flowed. The hand spun backward upon the dial. At last, as I saw again in the dim shadow of houses, it was the evidence of descent and humanity. These two who changed and passed, as another as came. Presently, when the million dial was at zero, I slackened in speed. I began to recognize our own pretty and familiar architecture. The thousand's hand ran him back to the starting point. In the night and day, he flapped up slower and slower. Then, in the old walls of the laboratory, he came around me. Very gentle now, when I slowed the mechanism down. I saw one little thing that it seemed odd to me. I think I have told you that when I set out before my velocity became very high. Mrs. Watchet had walked across the room, and traveling as it seemed to me like a rocket. As it returned, and I passed again across that minute when she traversed this laboratory. But now, her every emotion appeared to be the exact inversion of her previous ones. The door at the lower end opened, and then she glided quietly up the laboratory, back foremost, and disappeared behind the door. But by way she had previously entered. Just before that, I seemed to see Hiller, her for a moment, but he passed like a flash. Then I stopped the machine, and it's all about me again. In the old familiar laboratory, my tools, my appliances, just as I had left them. I got off the thing, being very shakily, and sat down upon my bench. For several minutes, I trembled violently. Then I became calmer. Around me, it was my old workshop again, exactly as it had been. I might have slept there, and the whole thing had been in a dream. And yet, not exactly. The thing had started from the southeast corner of the laboratory. It had come to rest again in the northwest. Yes, again, and it's the wall where you saw it. That gives you the exact distance from my little lawn on to the pedestal of the White Sphinx, into which the Morlocks had carried my machine. For a time, my brain went stagnant, and presently I got up and came through the passage here, limping, because my heel was still painful and feeling sorely begrimed. And I saw the Paul Mal Gazette on the table by the door. I found on the dot it was indeed a 2 day. And looking at the timepiece, he saw the hour. It was almost 8 o'clock. I heard your voices and the clatter of plates. I hesitated. I felt so sick and weak. Then I sniffed good and wholesome meat and opened the door on you. You know the rest. I washed and dined, and now, I'm telling you the story. I know, we said it after a pause, was that all this will be absolutely incredible to you. And to me, the one incredible thing is that I am here tonight in this old familiar room. I'm looking into your friendly faces and telling you these strange adventures. He looked at the medical man, and no, I cannot expect you to believe it. Take it as a lie or prophecy. Say I dreamed it in the workshop. Consider I have been speculating upon the destinies of our race until I have hatched this fiction. Treat my assertion of its truth as a mere stroke of art, or to enhance its interest in taking it a story. What do you think of it? He took up his pipe and began in his old accustomed manner to tap it nervously upon the bare bars of the grate. And that finishes chapter 6. We have one more chapter, which doesn't look like it's going to be too long. Epilogue to cover. So, we're nearly done with the time machine. Doesn't mention any other animal. So apparently all the large animals were extinct by the... Possibly, or maybe it could just be the particular area he was in. Let's see here. Must have had the version with was included, because I remember the unfortunately most of my books were ruined when in storage, and that sucks. But that's pretty cool. You had one of the versions with the old with the included stuff that usually gets excluded. I'm gonna have to see if I can track that down myself. Yeah, he's lucky he didn't end up being inside the wall. I suppose what he could have done is gone forward in time when the wall wasn't there, then stopped and moved the thing again. So that would have worked, I guess. All right, thank you. And looks like we're pretty much finishing on time this time. So let's see if we can find who's playing here. Let's see here. Okay, Theta's Words Live. And looks like he's doing Night of the Living Dead tonight. So that should be fun and show. So there's Theta Zord's thing. Hope you enjoy my show and live long and prosper.